watching Win-Win Power News. Energy Security and Climate Change, a book written by R.V. Shahi, former Secretary Power, was released by Union Minister of Finance Shri Pranab Mukherjee in New Delhi, and Shri Sushil Kumar Shinde, Union Minister of Power, presided over the function.
Finance Minister Pranab Mukherjee released a book written by former Power Secretary R.V. Shahi on 2nd December 2009 in New Delhi. Power Minister Sushil Kumar Shinde, H.S. Brahma, Secretary Power, and Rakesh Nath, Chairperson, Central Electricity Authority, were all present on the occasion along with various dignitaries from the entire power sector. R.V. Shahi has served the sector for almost 5 years in the capacity of Secretary Power. He was responsible for policy initiatives and implementation for the entire power sector in India. During his tenure, the Indian power sector went through a major restructuring with the institution of the Electricity Act 2003 and subsequent National Electricity Policy 2005 and National Tariff Policy 2006. His earlier books include Indian Power Sector Challenge and Response and Towards Powering India Policy Initiatives and Implementation Strategy. The latest book, Energy Security and Climate Change, is comprehensive as it deals with all forms of energy, conventional and non-conventional. The book brings forth not only all the relevant issues but also workable recommendations that can be opted to overcome many of the problems and roadblocks in the path of increasing energy efficiency and those in relation to climate change.
The National Action Plan on Climate Change was released on 30th June 2008 to outline India's strategy to meet the challenge of climate change. The book released by Mr. Shahi has dealt with contemporary issues of all the segments of energy and relates them to climate change concerns. It provides views on various topics such as India's strategy towards energy security, renewable energy and global warming, etc. Well, to talk in detail on power generation and climate change, we have with us Mr. R.V. Shahi, former Secretary Power, Government of India. A very good evening, Mr. Shahi, and welcome to Win-Win Power News.
Good evening and thanks a lot.
I'd also like to congratulate you for the release of your book. First of all, I'd like to ask you, what motivated you to write a book on energy security and climate change?
That is because energy is a subject which is dynamic in nature and things keep changing, challenges keep changing, more and more challenges. Energy is an issue which is relevant all over the world. I always thought that intellectual input should be there so that our future generations, even the present generations, they could take advantage of some of the thoughts. And these thoughts are a synthesis of various views, as I was mentioning today. So this, I wrote when I was Power Secretary, when I completed 5 years as Power Secretary. But where this book is different from the other one is that it also reconciles the climate change concerns, mitigation of climate change concerns, and energy development programs. The developing countries like India has this big issue. We want to increase the energy production and energy consumption because we are 1/3 of even China. So on the one hand, we need to produce more power, and on the other, we have to see how environment is not badly affected.
Okay, Mr. Shahi, protection of the environment has to be a central part of any sustainable inclusive growth strategy. Will you agree that this aspect of development is especially important in the 11th and 12th five-year plan when consciousness of the dangers of environmental degradation has increased significantly?
No, while planning for 11th plan, we did take this into account. Like we have said, we have committed that we will harness all our hydro potential. We have hardly harnessed about 22% of 150,000 megawatt of hydroelectric potential. When I was still in the government, we launched the 50,000 megawatt hydroelectric initiative, and that process continues. Similarly, we are one of the 5th largest in the world on wind. So therefore, even for the 11th plan and for the 12th plan, whatever best is possible to do on fuels other than coal and gas. And of course, gas is a little more environment friendly. Now the gas production has increased. More and more power projects should come on gas. The government should allocate more gas for power projects, and you will have better of the gas-based power generation in terms of the environment-friendly nature of such combined cycle power projects.
An important feature of any environmental strategy is that environmental objectives require action in several areas which typically lie in the purview of different ministries. And this would require sharing of responsibility at all levels of government and across sectors with respect to monitoring of pollution, enforcement of regulations and development of programs for mitigation and abatement. Will you agree on the fact that though we have been talking so much on climate change issue, but government's commitment and national level consciousness on those issues does not seem to be aggressive yet?
No, if it is not aggressive, I would agree. But concern is not there that I won't agree, because concerns are there. The very fact that without any international pressure on us, India has come out with a national action plan on climate change, and it cuts across all ministries. You see, environmental issues are not only linked to power development, they are linked to transport, the way we run our transport system. One of the biggest polluters is the transport sector. So we need to do something there. The demand side management, energy efficiency, power, petroleum, coal, all have to look at it in an integrated way. I think National Action Plan gears up all these, integrates all these things. I am sure that in coming months you will have more actions from the government. I am not pessimistic on this, that government has been indifferent. No. The initiative of National Action Plan itself is a serious initiative. It does need fund. If we have to get into solar in a big way, like 20,000 megawatt by 2020, it is a tall order. It requires fund. But government commitment, if it is there, and certain degree of support by way of subsidy is given, definitely, if not by 2020, a little later, you will be able to get this solar power in a big way. Wind is one of the priority area that has been happening. Hydro is happening. So therefore, commitments are there. Different ministries dealing with this subject would continue, because we can't have one ministry which will have all issues of climate change dealing. That way you have Environment Ministry. But Environment Ministry needs to coordinate with all ministries so that these actions happen.
Do you feel that successive 5-year plans must build on past experience by integrating environment considerations into policy making in all sectors of the economy, such as infrastructure, transport, water, supply, sanitation, industry, etc.?
No, I do think that environmental awareness came in India from 1985, when we had the first integrated legislation on environment. Before that, I would say industry's approach to environment was callous, indifferent, callous, negative, you can say, not very much concerned about it. Pollution monitoring happens. But now in the last 2 years, post fourth report of the IPCC, the consciousness is more. Not only in India, all over the world. The very fact that the summit level meetings of the heads of the government, the prime ministers, the presidents of the government, which does not discuss environment and climate change. You would see next book in a couple of years.
Thank you, Mr. Shahi, for joining us on Win Win Power News, and congratulations again. And I hope to see your next book very soon. Well, it's time now to take another short break. On the other side, we'll take a look at JSW Energy's IPO release, and we'll also be joined by Mr. S.S. Rao, Joint Managing Director and CEO, JSW Energy. Stay tuned.